This is a fairly remote watering site, and years ago we drug this rock picker out here. We have a fleet of solar-powered rock pickers here at Greener Pastures Ranching. All three of these that I have been imported from Saskatchewan, actually. That's where my family farm originally from. So what we do is we take these old rock pickers that have basically about 150 to 200 gallon trough, and I mount a toolbox to it. And that's where the battery and the sun saver and everything goes. Somehow we'll tip up the forks and mount a solar panel. They're all a little bit different, but we've got solar panels mounted on them. And it works great as a trough. We're very portable. We can move it around if we need to. This one's been sitting here at the same spot for a while. We just moved the pump between a couple of sites because we've got quite a few troughs in this pasture. So it is set up in a watering area. We've protected our riparian area behind us. Again, we've talked about dragonflies and spiders and duck nesting and all that type of things. Technically, we've got 8 paddocks that are watering out of this rock picker. Now, it was really easy to set up. Basically, it has a solar panel that charges a battery, that being the toolbox. The float switch, you can see the yellow thing in the water. When they drink it down, that float switch drops. It's a reverse action float switch, which I just buy at Princess Auto or any home hardware store. And when the water drops down, it turns the pump on. And when it fills back up, it'll turn the pump off. So this just always remains full. So works really well. And we leave the hose and the trough at each site and just move the pump around. The pump is the expensive part, so works pretty well. So this is another site that you won't see on our regular pasture walk. It's quite remote. It's a long trip to get in here. Quite a few years ago, we dragged this old hay feeder in here as a water trough, and I don't ever want to drag it out. It wasn't that easy. So basically, we've got a homemade solar system here. We've got a bilge pump out in the water with a float, and a solar panel charging a battery. There's not very much lift here, so it doesn't take very much to make this solar system work. We've got actually 673 head on this water system right now with a tiny little solar panel, so the lift is quite shallow. So the battery is actually charging both the water system and the fencer. Charges the battery and runs both of them. So basically, when they drink it down, there's a float switch in the trough that turns on the pump. Pump fills it up, and then it shuts it off when it's full. So pretty simple system. The fencer, that's one of my favorite fencers right here. It's a SpeedRite 3000. That's a 3-joule fencer. Very similar, or same exact fencer would be a Stay-Fix ×3. Same fencer, just a different color. And that's what's powering the fence here. Now, we've got probably 8 kilovolts in the fence, but we're only running maybe a ½ mile of polywire. The perimeter is all barbed wire. We've got a couple of offsets, but we're not running very much fence here. So we've also fenced off the entire dugout here. There's an electric wire that goes around it so that they don't have access. That's protecting our riparian area so that we have nice clean water for the animals, but also clean water for the insects and biodiversity in our system. We want to get some predator insects out here, dragonflies, spiders, things like that, to help deal with pests if they become a problem. So we do definitely want to protect our water systems here. So 12 years ago we built this riparian area, but we also fenced around it. So we put a 1-wire electric all the way around this riparian area, and it's actually expanded past my fence in a couple spots this year because it's so wet. But we've protected this and kept it natural. Great for springtime nesting for the birds, waterfowl. Good for insect reproduction. Spiders, they need the long, tall grass to hang their egg sacs from. So we need to protect that to keep that tall grass. The dragonflies need the tall grass to sit on to rebreed. So we need to keep this area from the cattle and keep it protected. So we do put electric fencing around and keep the cattle out of this riparian area. As you can see in the background, that the water is actually covered in a green substance. It's actually duckweed. It's not not covered in algae by any means. It's a duckweed. Now, duckweed is a small plant. It's like a tiny little lily pad with a long root system. And what it does is actually cleans the water for us. So it's taking out nitrates and phosphates out of the water. So in the background there, that duckweed, that's a good thing. We want that in our riparian areas.